Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Colin Ogilvie.
And I'm Amna Hashim.
This is NEWZ, and it's another wet and rainy day in the classic city of Athens. Today's top news is the impending Brexit. It's becoming a trending topic once again as the exit date comes closer and closer. We decided, with another parliament vote on March 12th, and Brexit set to happen on March 29th, to send people with cameras around campus to see what people knew of Brexit and what they've heard. So let's jump right into the tapes.
How many states are in the UK?
In the UK, states. Well, you have England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland, and then assorted islands, but I wouldn't call them states.
If I had to take a rough guess, probably 16.
That is not correct.
I have no idea.
What's the EU?
The European Union is, well, it's a lot of things. It's sort of a political organization, but it's also a trade bloc that reduces the borders between the nations of the European continent.
European Union.
What does it do?
That doesn't.
European Union, what do they do? Their unit, I don't know.
Have you heard of Brexit?
Yes.
Can you tell me what it is?
Okay, have you heard of Brexit?
Yes. Britain exit.
Okay. Is it Brexit when they were deciding whether or not to, or there was, with the, oh gosh.
Who left the EU during Brexit?
Who left? Russia. Did they?
Who left the EU during Brexit?
I know it was a division amongst some of the states in Britain, but there wasn't a unanimous decision.
Do you know what liberalism is?
I'll let Zeb answer that one.
I'll let Upsha answer that one.
I took comparative government, I promise.
And we're back. As we quickly realized, many of the students here at UGA know very little, or not much at all, about Brexit. So here we have a handful of experts to tell us a little bit of background information on the EU and on Brexit. Here we have Sydney, Mary, and Abir.
Ladies, it's good to have you with us. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the United Kingdom?
Well, the United Kingdom is made up of England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. And in 1973, the United Kingdom joined the European Union.
And the European Union is actually the world's largest free trade zone. It was created after World War II in 1951. It was actually originally called the European Economic Community, and membership in this group contained the ability to move across borders of each member state freely. It also created a common currency, which created a more universal organization, and that was the euro, which allowed everyone to buy and trade more freely. Since its creation, however, the European Union has become a very influential entity that determines much more than just trade agreements within member states.
So my question is, what exactly is the big deal about Brexit? In other words, what's so important about it?
Well, this would be a huge, major economic change for the United Kingdom because they've been a member for over 40 years. It has played a huge role in supporting the UK's economy. Businesses, including international businesses, would be greatly affected just because of the new taxes that would have to be placed on the UK's products. The UK's international affairs would be severely affected because of that. There's also a $39 billion divorce contract that's 585 pages long that the UK would have to invest in. And this block of membership also produces a lot of social concerns as well. Because being a part of the European Union allowed people to move freely, the leaving of the European Union would force people to move out of the UK or force them to come back to the UK due to their citizenship.
Hi, I'm a highly developed state. Just like most of you, I try to keep an active lifestyle and try to get my daily dose of open market fiber and try to maintain that economic lifestyle. It's hard to believe how big I've grown. But you know what is serious? Low tariff blood pressure. If you are a highly developed state that has recently been engaging in open market fiber, then you may be subject to low tariff blood pressure. If this sounds like you or a loved one, then you may be susceptible to foreign competition, unhappy workers, or even deprived of loan vitamins. Take control of your diet and get on Brexit, rated #1 in economic motivation. One pill a day is enough to keep you going without the need of EU law to bind your trade negotiations. Be free to dictate your employment and health laws with the confidence you need to retake seats on international committees. But don't take my word, try it yourself. Take the 2-year plan for as little as $51.99 and see for yourself why one state rated it superb.
Warning, do not take Brexit if you are a developing state. You could be subject to a lack of international business as well as severe rural syndrome. If your experience with Brexit lasts longer than 8 hours, we recommend talking to your doctor. Take back your life.
Take that inflection and Brexit.
And we're back from our commercial break. I wanted to change tack a little bit and ask, what are your personal opinions as experts on this idea of Brexit?
So in my opinion, it would be best if the UK stayed in the European Union. The UK has a very high dependency on the Union, and citizens in favor of remaining argue that the UK really needs the EU because of their steep inflation, high unemployment, and low productivity. Also, about 40% of the UK's exports and services go to the EU. So that could be very detrimental to the economy if that was taken away or decreased. And really at the end of the day, only about 51% of citizens voted to leave the EU, but only 78% of the overall populations actually voted, which raises a real concern that many of the citizens were not properly educated on the issue when they voted. And also, it would really be in the best interest for the UK to stay in the EU in order to maintain their more liberal interests.
I heard you mention liberal interests. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, liberalism is basically a set of beliefs that focus on security and cooperation among states, and cooperation then operates highly in the area of trade. And commercial liberalism encourages trade and partnership between states which grow capital so both parties can benefit. And in my personal opinion, I think Britain should leave the EU because in the European Union, when the economy is doing poorly, it affects all the states involved, and therefore their economy is suffering. By leaving, they can grow a more independent economy or join other sectors that don't promote as much dependency, such as the World Trade Organization or the European Economic Area. And joining these groups would therefore promote greater sovereignty, continuing relations with the EU, and a decrease of the amount of money lost.
Alright, well, thank you so much for informing us about Brexit. That wraps up our questions, and it was a pleasure to have you all here with us today. For NEWZ, I'm Colin Ogilvie.
And I'm Amna Sheen. We'll see you guys next time.
Oh, hold on. We've just received reports of a zombie virus from the Seattle, Washington area. I guess that's what happens when you don't vaccinate your kids, and we're going to have to see how the international community responds to this.